Okay.
Lul.
There we go.
Okay.
Whoops. All right. There we go. All right.
Yay.
Working.
Yeah. It's live.
Holy cannoli. There we go. So now you can. Yay! Yay! Look at
I
that.
think my voice is way too loud.
There, nice. Happy. Nice. There we go. So everyone can hear me and such and whatnot. Sweet.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I think my voice is way too loud. Let me try to reduce a little bit.
Here, I'll do this.
Yeah, just a tiny bit.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, check. Let me hear on YouTube.
And can everyone hear us good and swell? And if so, can you just drop a comment saying yes, no, maybe so? So for everyone that's joining, we are MattePaint, I guess. And I've got Diogo Sampaio with me, and just as a little bit of a guest, I guess, and just to sit and chill and talk and go over Photoshop brushes. And I was supposed to go over last week a bit on my personal Photoshop brushes that I used and why and how, and I forgot to do it in the middle of the stream, so I'm making up for last week. And so with it, I thought I would go over the brushes, how to make brushes, how to make brushes out of textures, and then go over a little bit about the business side of matte painting, just a little bit about it, nothing too deep and detailed about it, but just kind of talk a little bit about it, because it's definitely something that I think a lot of artists struggle with quite a bit, and I think you would agree with that, Diogo. That it's definitely something just people just really struggle with.
Yes.
And I just wanted to kind of go over some of this stuff with you. So,
Okay.
With Photoshop in matte painting, well, with concept art, you can pretty much use any Photoshop brush you want. You can make them, you can design them, you can extract textures, you can do a lot with them. But you can also, if you're really trying to get into matte painting specifically, you can really make your own specific brushes, which is what I have here. These are my own handmade brushes that I like to utilize for everything and anything that I do. And I'll go over these a bit for you. And if people like these brushes, I'll put them online for you through MattePaint and let you guys download them. And so I'll reset these brushes. So nope. So these are your normal standard brushes that you get in Photoshop. I personally don't like any of these. Just as a personal preference, I don't like having this window. I find it very annoying, and I don't like how the brush is constantly moving on the screen. Even if I make this bigger, you can kind of see it.
I don't know if not just me, if it's not just me, but like 90% of the time, I use only the soft round brush. I rarely use other brushes.
Yeah, the soft round one gets you pretty far with it, but there is a default with it. So and I'll show you. So in a quick in a moment. So these are the normal brushes that you get, and some of these are actually really nice, like this one. I like this one. This one works really well if you're just doing quick concept paintings at work, or if you have to, like, or even if you have to draw arrows or happy faces, or right, Ian is cool or whatever. Like it's really good for writing notes or whatever. It kind of feels like a pen, I think. And then some of these other ones are kind of cool, but
What was it?
hmm?
It wasn't me.
But these other ones in Photoshop, I'm not a big fan of, just because it's if I do something very large like this, it's I don't like the edges. They're very pixelated and stagnant, and it's cubical, and I'm not a big fan of it. And then same with like the hair and the grass brush. I've gone and remade my own, and part of it is because of the way this brush works. So the way like this one works is that if you have two colors, so let's do a red, and then let's do like an opposing color, let's do green. And if
That's
I
amazing.
paint, you'll see that I get both those colors, which I find very obnoxious. Uh, I mean, if you're doing concept work, yeah, this is maybe fine because you can do like another green color and get something looking a little bit more natural. But me personally, I don't like the edges of it. It all feels very copy and pasted rather than something a little bit more smooth. So I've gone and
Mhm.
redesigned these two brushes for my personal use, and I'll put these up for you. Just because the edges are a lot smoother on mine, and I'll show you and compare it. And then the only other brush that I tend to use out of this is this one. Just because of the way the edges are, I kind of like it a little bit, but it's not like one of my big favorite ones. Um, so I mean that these are just personal preferences, but you can always change it. Um, I do like this one the most out of any of those Photoshop brushes. It's a pretty standard one. This one I actually kept. Uh, Oops, there we go. I like this one. You can do a lot with it.
Yeah,
You can paint light, which works really well, and it's got like a nice fall off. Um, Something like that. I mean,
nice gradient on the top. Nice.
yeah, exactly. It just has a really nice gradient for everything,
Yeah.
even with one tab. Uh, and the fall off that it has and the colors that it mixes in with is really nice. That's pretty much the only brush out of all of these that I really like the most. Even the leaf ones, I don't like those. That it looks like child's play and it's laggy. I don't like it. So that's what those are. So if you want to add brushes, you just have to right click and on this little icon, click down on it and load brushes, and you should have a folder in your Photoshop settings, uh, file path, sorry, of just your brushes. And then I have
Mhm.
my specific matte painting brushes that I like to use. And then you press load and
Yeah.
it loads them. So for the round brush, like I was showing earlier, is the reason I don't like this one is it's very stagnant. You can kind of see it. It looks like little ant hills constantly, no matter what.
Mhm.
And I've gone and redid it to be smoother, so that no matter what way you write, it's smooth. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
And then the other part
Cool.
with it is and the reason I like it being smooth is it all relates to all your edges. So no matter what way you're painting, it's going to keep a nice clean edge. You're not going to get something very stagnant.
Can
And
you zoom in a little bit more, please, so I can see the difference? That's interesting. That's a lot of difference. Yeah.
yeah, this
What
one
did
is
you actually switched
this one's
on the settings
buckling
to make
up
it this way?
and this one's smooth. So for the
Hmm. Nice.
settings, a lot of it is if I go into what was it, Windows brushes, uh, it was I believe the shape dynamics. You have to play with and the scattering. A lot of it's just the scattering of it, of
Yeah,
dealing with the fade.
for this one. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So that was that, and then the other part of it was I wanted this brush to be a little bit more dynamic with the edges. So if I draw like this, you can kind of see how we have that little bit of a gradient, right? And now if I put the hardness at 0 and do that, it's going to give me that nice softness. And it's going to kind of look like noise a little bit. But this is much
Yeah,
more of a plausible gradient than what
true.
other brushes would have. And this works really well if you're trying to do like water transparencies or window reflections or whatnot. And then the other part with
Interesting.
this brush is playing with flow. So if I put this back at 100%, right? So it's like that. We still have those edges like this. If I put the flow at, let's say, 50%, you'll see this. You'll kind of see what it does, where it's you can kind of see inside of it, which can give you some kind of cool effects if you're trying to do like a wormhole or I don't know
Hmm.
tubes or whatnot. It's kind of a cool effect. But if I put the hardness at 0 and do the same thing, it's going to give me a complete different effect, even though the setting's the same. So you really just have to play with the settings of it. That's why I like this brush so much. It applies for,
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah, really nice edges. I can get anything I want with it out of one brush and utilize it. Because when you're in a studio and you're working, it's not like you have time to go and make brushes constantly. You don't have time to just sit and play with brushes all day. You have to get work done. So this brush personally um, just just gets the job done no matter what, and I very much like that. Um, so there's that one, and then there's the same with these ones. These ones are pretty much the same. And then if I put the flow down a little bit, yeah, there it is. Yeah. You can kind of see what the edge even does. Even though the edge on the sides here are very harsh, the
Hmm.
sides of it though here, or even right here, in comparison to this one, are very different. And it's that fall off that we get, where here it's just, it's harsh, but on the sides here, you get that nice gradient fall
Smoother.
off. Yeah, it's much
Yep.
smoother. And that's why I like having these few brushes. With these few, I can do anything. I like this one. It's kind of like chalk, but if I just tap, I can get like smoke flares or dust particles or whatever. And the nice
Cool.
part, and my other favorite one that I like, is it this one? Nope, it's not that one.
That's cool for smoke or
Yeah,
even for haze, maybe.
yeah. Yeah, all these are just for smoke and haze and atmospheric stuff, because
Hmm.
you always want to play with that. And that's pretty much what all these other cloud brushes are those kind of effects, just to give you different looks of things. Um, so you can really play with it. I'm trying to think of, where are you? Where are you? Is it this one? Yeah. Yeah, like I love this one because it works really well if you're trying to do fog or haze or like smoke on chimneys. So
Hmm.
th- with all these brushes, I should be able to make and do anything with them for different kind of clouds and such and dust particles.
Yeah, those are
Um,
awesome.
that's why I like them. You can just do so much with it, and they flow really nice. They don't lag. They shouldn't lag. Um, but
Yeah,
you can really build them up playing with flow, uh, which is really nice. And you can mix the results together. Now the other part with that grass brush, I'll show you. Whoops. my bad, is I'll take like this image, put it in. When we're working with images, we always have to deal with cutting edges really nicely, right? So if I want to cut this foreground out, it's not like you can go and mask it out. I mean, you could try to, but you're gonna have a lot of paint work that you already have to deal with. So I wouldn't do it. At that point, I'll just cut this out like this, and then with my brush, and I'll show you the difference. With this one, it just builds up constantly, right? And then you have to go in and clean up all those edges.
I think we have a question here on YouTube from Joe Jacobs. He's asking, is there a go-to fundamental brush pack that everyone loves, or a recommended for anyone venturing into matte painting?
Yeah, my brushes. and but I am serious about that. I would say my brushes, just because of how dynamic and versatile they are for what you can do. So I'll put these brushes online for people to download. So like this is your standard grass brushes that you get, but the one that I've got, this one, if I can show you, if I put this all the way, see how different and dynamic that is versus something like that, or even this one.
Mhm.
And then
The
here's
sharpness might be a concern, probably. Not sure.
but I put the scale up really big for how far
Okay. Yeah.
you're going to be painting.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot more subtle. And even this one, based on pen pressure, you're going to get that nice gradient within it. It's not going to be all harsh. I mean, unless this is like wheat, then maybe, but you can still get the effect with this one by just pressing the right way. So on this one, I'll show you. Oops. There you go. And just by taking a little bit of time to paint it right, you'll get a nicer edge. And then you can mix it with the other one. And it just fixes the edges really quick and nicely. You don't have to sit there and go in and remask all this to make it fit. It just clicks right in. And I can even change this one a little bit just to go with the flow of the hill and the shape dynamics of that hill. And it's going to just match really nicely. So something like that already feels very much more organic than something like this. So now if I take another image and let's put this one, right? And let's put it behind. Just from a distance already, one fits in more naturally than the other. I mean, the ones that I was painting here blend in, where this one, it doesn't. It sticks out like a sore thumb. So everything, all these brushes that I've created are all just based on making sure that anything you try to paint will blend in with anything that you're trying to put together. And that's the way I like to work. I like to work very clean and fast and proficient. So with these edges, it just allows you to get that result way much faster. You don't have to sit there and go and rework it continuously. It just does it straight for you. And you can change like the hardness a little bit, and then even the flow based on how hard you press with the pen. And it looks way more realistic for the size and how the fall off is. It's going to look
You
a
should
lot
drop the
more.
link for download for people to see them. You should download. I mean, put the link for the download.
Uh,
As soon as you
I
have them, of course.
Yeah, as after this Discord, I'll get them online and I'll put it on the Discord server of MattePaint, um, for everyone, and I'll get it on the MattePaint community page as well for you guys.
Someone on Instagram said they should see my face. Why is not my face appearing, Ian? Why?
Because I don't know how to make YouTube work.
It's fine, dude. It's fine.
I mean, unless you want my face, I've got this gorgeous face. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Boom. There we
GG.
go. You're right. Yeah, look at that. And like, if you want,
The special snowflake.
yeah, let's add some whiskers. Oh, this is perfect. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna use my face for this. Even for like whiskers, this brush works. I'm serious. Like, this is why I like this brush so much. You can do things like that. There's your whiskers.
Just flip it, and there
Or
you go,
even,
profit.
yeah, a mustache.
A
Boom.
mustache.
Done. So like, I mean, I love this brush. You can do a lot with it, and it just even these scratch brushes, they work really well if you're trying to do trees, or if you're trying to do grass, plants, anything organic like that. It'll apply for new matte painting that I've been working on. Like, these brushes worked great for doing some of the effects and some of the edge work of the animals and the mountains and the skies. So it just these brushes work pretty much for anything that you need to get done. So that's the way I like to work. I like having a certain set because it just allows me to have everything that I need. Even if I'm trying to do like lights or whatever. So do I have an image? You know what? Let's make this one dark. I'll show you how to do, like, let's do a light coming from this window really quick. So filter, camera raw filter. Let's do, right? So something like, let's do nighttime, right? Let's desaturate a little bit. All right, it looks a little bit more nighttime, right? And
Boom, there you go.
let's do a daytime version for the light. So again, we go to
How to turn
filter,
day into light.
right?
I mean, day into night in 3 seconds.
Yeah, literally.
Profit.
So something profit, yeah. Something like this maybe, right? Okay. So something like this, and then you just mask out your areas, right?
Yep.
Gorgeous window,
Please
right?
work on the masks. Yeah, indeed. Don't do the same thing Ian is doing. This is just to show a quick way to do it. Take your time to mask things properly.
Yeah, always. Always, always, always. But I don't know, something like this, right? So for that brush, for this one, right, you just take the color and and you just paint a little bit, very lightly, just the fall off. Or you could do even like the fall off coming down like this. And there you go.
Yep.
I mean, just with a few paint strokes, you got something already working really well. I mean, just something very, very simple like that. And it already looks very natural. You have a nice fall off of everything. You don't have to go mask the light, cut it. It's done within 2 seconds. You don't have to try and redo or rework anything. And then you get something a little bit kind of like this, and there you go. Like, this top part looks kind of nice. But that's kind of how I like to work. I like to make sure that I have everything I need to make life as easier and proficient as I want. And then even for uh, let's get a sky image, and I'll show you this. So that's epic. I like that. All right, let's download this. Even when I'm working on new pieces of work, I'll clean up the sky generally. So to like fix this stuff, I'll just do like the stamp tool, get my cloud brush. I'll sample an area that I kind of like, generally in the same region, and just really quickly and alter the brush continuously.
Yeah, to break the pattern.
Yeah, and you'll get something fitting pretty well, and it looks a natural. And at that point, it's just who sees it better to blend things nicely. And there you go. You don't have to sit and try to guess or whatever. Could probably be a little bit darker, but yeah. Or just like select it. Oops. And just do the
Shift F5
yeah,
does the miracle.
done. Or just do that, one of the two. But generally, like when I'm doing set extensions or whatever, I'll try to when you're doing matte painting, you're always dealing with clouds, and you always have to take into account like the edges of clouds. So, oops. Oh, oops. There we go. Yeah. So you always have to deal with the edges of the clouds. So something that's dark versus light. And then having to, because it's going to be easy to mask out all the darks, but then you also have to deal with cutting out all the lights. So this brush, these cloud brushes work really nice if you're trying to paint that stuff back in and rework it a little bit to get nice edges. Otherwise, you're going to get something pretty harsh. So to make brushes, you just need an image basically. So something like this, you can desaturate it. Let's pick our whites and let's do something like that. Right? And it's not like I want, yeah, I want something kind of like, I don't know, something like that. Why not, right? And then you select it and you go to edit, define brush preset, and there you go. And it's done. And now if I go to a new document, let's do, I don't know. Yeah,
Ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do this one, right? If I want to put that in, yeah, you're already set to go with one click. Boom, done. And you can do all these kind of weird smoky effects or whatnot. So at that point, you just have to be creative with the clouds, and with something like this, like, yeah, you could even turn this into like, let's get a chimney going or whatnot, right?
Yep, just mask it a little bit and boom.
Yeah. Exactly. And then here's your brush and you
White
just,
smoke.
yeah.
We have a pope.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We have a pope in this haunted house. Awesome. Yeah, and there you go. And yeah. Boom, we've got a pope. So it's that simple for making brushes. And I highly suggest people to play around with this. It works really well if you're trying to do when you're cutting images like this one out, for example. If you're trying to cut out the entire background, So click on the blue one because the background's blue. And we're just going to kind of push everything in and then do this. And we should be set to go. I love masking stuff out. It's very therapeutic.
Oh, yes, it is.
Just put on some music and go at it.
Can you imagine the time I was losing before I knew how to properly cut stuff with the levels and stuff like that? I was
Right?
doing manually with brushes, and I will still enjoy it. That's the weird part.
It's yeah, I mean there's times when I have to manually do stuff but that's when those brushes come in handy. Right? So
I was about to say something stupid.
you're okay. So if we have that, now you tend to have like those weird edges all the time. And um oh, you made me lose my train of thought, Diogo. Oh, okay.
What?
Yeah, edges. So uh to get like some of these edges working nicely, sometimes if you have to cut something out, if you have an edge like this or something, um, you can just stamp it out or clean it up with something a little bit similar like that tree brush. And so you just get that and you just clip it, pick a color, and go ahead and paint, and it should just blend in really nicely. You put this on and there you go.
I feel like I have to do that every single time I need to cut out trees because the masks are never 100% accurate. So you always need to do this.
Yeah. I mean, even if you try to do the blend diff or
Yeah, I do it at the end.
there's a lot of ways, but sometimes you just have to put in that little bit of extra work. And so it definitely
It's
helps
just
to,
nice
yeah,
to see it properly cut.
yeah. So if we put this in, this, yeah,
And GG, it looks like shit right now.
right?
But that's part of the process at the moment.
And let's colorize this. Let's make it, yeah,
Maleficent.
right? Yeah, there we go. Boom. But you just have to work with your edges, and you always want something clean as much as you can, and you do it by just painting edges and fixing edges as much as you can. Why is it not working? Ah, there we go. We'll put it on normal, and then from there do like the blend diff. Go to the blue. Oops. Yeah, there you go. Blend it in a little bit.
GG.
And very lightly. I gotta get used to GG. It's such a weird term. But yeah, there you go. That's kind of how you deal with it at times. I mean, obviously do a lot better job than this, but it'll work. And with something with a grass edge like that, it's just gonna blend right in. With something a little bit harsher, it doesn't work as well. So you always want to kind of keep an account what brush you're using for what element and how it's going to work. But that's a general way of things. And personally, I think it's really important to be able to know what brush and how to use it, and you can play with the settings of those brushes as well. I tend to, with brush settings, I'm not one for doing wet edges or noise or buildup on it. I don't like those. I tend to deal with mainly with scattering, shape dynamics, dual brush. I rarely ever probably ever use that. Okay, I'd never touch that. Color dynamics, nope, I never use that. Transfer, this is kind of nice because it deals with your pen pressure if you have a Wacom, because you Wacom. Dad jokes
Just
here,
a
okay?
graphic talent.
Yeah,
I have a Uyan and it suits me good.
yeah, dad jokes here, Wacom.
Yeah,
And then These tend to work pretty well. This is how to get those nice edges, I dealt with pen pressure and fades. And that's how I got those nice edges like this. And it works pretty well. But this one's more stagnant, so you really have to press down and
Drag
such.
it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, you just have to play with everything pretty well. Yeah, I don't like wet edges. I find it annoying. And yeah, I encourage you guys to play with brushes and see what they are. I personally like mine the most, just because of how useful they are for anything you're doing, whether it's clouds, smoke, fog, hair, grass, trees, even like these textures on the wall here. I would probably use that grass texture because it's something a little bit similar. With, just pick that color, and let's make this one smaller. And, or even, you know what, even better yet, yeah, this one. Okay. And then let's make this thinner, smaller. Oh, that one's gonna go all over the place, so maybe not that one. Or, yeah, this dirt one. I love this dirt one. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that, make it thinner, wider, and even there, just with a few clicks. It's gonna work pretty nice. There you go. Yeah.
You have the jitter on?
I was gonna say, why is it?
It's probably the jitter.
Yeah.
On shape dynamics, I guess. Yeah.
There we go. So just get it angled right and click around, and it works. And there you go. And that's just one brush. And that was a cloud brush actually. And from a distance, it's gonna work pretty nice. And then just continuously change the color a bit. And there you go. So you can do a lot with these. But this brush as well, I really like the pressure of it because of all the little dust particles. So I'll show you this. So with this brush also, yeah, there we go. Okay. Based on, it kind of looks like dust and dust particles and sand, and you can kind of use it in fog. So if I put the flow down a little bit, I can build up
That's
how
a cool
intense that fog is.
That's perfect to paint some desert scenarios, for example.
In my piece that I recently did you know what, I'll just open it up in Photoshop. Here, you're not supposed to see this, but I'll show you. If
the IP one?
Yeah.
I already know where did you use it.
No, not this one. Yeah, so in this one, to get all those tiny little clouds and stuff, I use this dust particle one because it gave me that kind of nice little effect. And you just, based on flow and opacity and playing with different color modes, I should have had that one on new layer, you get like this nice build up. And then like you change the color a little bit and you get like, boom, a nice little, and that's just with one brush painting it really quick, nothing too special. Boom. So that's kind of how I did all those little clouds in all of this. was just
Interesting.
painting it really quick. And I went really quick with this because I didn't want to spend light years on this. Yeah. So you just have to have the right brush and what you're doing with it, and just utilize it right way. And that's why I like all my brushes. They fit well with anything that you're trying to make and paint. For soft edges, hard edges, hair, grass, trees, plants, water, reflections, smoke, haze, fog, uh, anything. For writing and whatever you want. And that's pretty much how my brushes work. Yeah. So it nothing too big and special, but again, when you're working in a studio, it's not like you have time to go and make brushes and elements for yourself all the time. You have to be able to do things quick on the spot. So
Yeah,
these brushes I've developed over time. There's still a few things I would like to fix on some of these, but for the time being, they work very proficiently and well, and they give me really good results for whatever I'm trying to do. Yeah,
that one is pretty cool. I love that one.
because it's just so smooth for getting edges if you're trying to paint anything.
Yeah, it's a big difference from the standard one.
Yeah, even with that same brush and just pen pressure on, and you can do a lot. You can get like this cool swirling effect, and now we have something that looks like 3D, and that's just with one brush, and this same brush does everything that I need it to do. And then like let's put the flow like this. It's the same thing. So you can do a lot with this. You can paint fog with this, light dynamics, haze, fog, cut edges with the power of one brush. Because there's this huge argument online that I keep seeing from people of like, what brush did you use? How did you use it? It's not a matter of the brush. It's honestly how you use it and what you use it for.
True.
And generally when I'm doing my own personal works, I'm using this brush, and that's pretty much it. That one brush to do everything I need. This hard brush that
Yeah,
I get, that's what I use for everything.
that's what I
Um,
said at the beginning when I
yeah,
usually do matte painting or stuff like that. Like 90% of my time is using the same brush.
yeah,
The other 10% is just for texturing or
yeah,
adding haze or smoke, and that's it.
yeah, exactly. And you just got to be clever with what you're doing and how you're doing it. Um, let's give him some rosy cheeks,
Advanced sketch
right?
course right here.
Yeah, like boom. So it's all in how you use it. So I'll put these brushes up in a bit for people to download. Um, and then yeah, if you want to load brushes, you just right click on this, load brushes. It'll come up in here. Double click on it, press load, and there it is. Um, and then if you want to reset them, if you go and alter them, just do reset brushes. Don't save and press OK, and you're good to go. I can't talk. Oof. There we go. Okay, so that's kind of how I work with everything with brushes. Nothing too big or fancy. I can't talk. Um, and then the other part of this video that I wanted to go over a little bit is social media. I mean, Dio is much better about social media than me because he posts a lot, but there's some things with social media that I kind of want to show you guys a little bit because I'm not like the biggest social media advocate. I mean, personally, I'm not one for liking to post all the time. So I want to show you guys just on a few tips and tricks of just things that I've learned since the beginning, and it's just mainly just with ArtStation. So if you're a map painter and you're trying to get work, there's a few key components that I would
Yep.
personally, from my own experience, say that you should really have. One, have a nice profile picture. Have
Ah,
it's
you
kind
should take care of that, please.
of the bunny one. Yeah. Yeah, have a nice profile picture, just something that's decent. I mean, obviously nothing of you drinking or partying or
Parking
whatever,
car.
something nice, clean and professional.
Mhm.
And then a lot of people like to use their own art name. Me personally, I don't want to have an art name. I
Me too.
I just want my own name. Because it makes it a lot easier for people to remember you. They don't have to go, oh yeah, uh, Pink Bunny is Ian Vicknair.
Yeah,
Like it, you
that's a
don't
good
want
tip.
to, yeah, you don't want to confuse people, make them have to remember that extra step.
Yeah, that's why my profile on ArtStation has Diogo Sampaio instead of Strongside or Studio
Mm.
or whatever.
Yeah. And then with it, have the title of what you're doing, and then have your email. I cannot stress over this one. I think this is probably one of the most important aspects of social media is make it easy for people to find you. A
Yep.
lot of recruiters, they don't have time to sit at your profile and dig for information of how do I get in contact with you. They want to be able to find it within a few seconds. And part
Hmm.
of this comes from me being in advertisement agencies. The attention span of what people used to be on social media, it went from I believe it was like 12 or 13 seconds, and then after a few years it went
Yeah.
down to like 8 or 9, and with today's current date, it's down to like 3 seconds. So that's why I have this set like this. You go, oh, Ian Vicknair, he looks decent. He's a map painter. He does 3D DMP.
That's a
There's
little
his,
bit subjective, but
but
okay.
but straight to the point of like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
he's presentable.
sure.
That's his name. That's what he does. There's his contact, and oh, he's available. And where's he at? He's in Montreal and the U.S. Oh, okay, so he must be working here. And then let's look at his portfolio. Oh, okay, he does film, commercial, personal work, and then he's got a personal project. Like, great, awesome. Um,
Cool.
and then you see everything. And then I have the same thing on my about page, on the about, just a little bit about me. And then
Mhm.
again, there's my email, my ArtStation link, my website. Again, there's my email. Even on my reel, I have my email, I believe. Yeah, there it is. I try to make everything as accessible as possible. Because
Cool tip.
that's you want to make life for who's ever hiring easy. And then it's the same thing on all my work. Um, again, there's my email, my website. So I would highly suggest for people if you're really trying to get into understanding social media and dealing with jobs and recruitment, make make it accessible for people to find you.
Yeah,
And these are just small little tricks that I've learned over the years. And just keep it very straight to the point. Don't try to be sneaky about it. Because even when I've hired a matte painter for a project a long time ago, I went to ArtStation, typed in matte painting, and
hmm,
obviously you're going to get stuff. But if I go to your profile and there's no information, I'm within like 3 or 4 seconds of trying to look you up, I'm going to move on. Even if you have the world's greatest piece, if I can't find your
hmm.
information, I'm just going to move forward because I don't have time to waste. So keep that stuff as accessible as possible. And it's the same way on my LinkedIn. Um, if I go to my profile, you'll see it's again a nice header image. I try to use the same profile picture everywhere. And then again, just there's there's my contact info, and everything that I do. You just want to make it easy for people to find you and see you and understand what they're looking at. It's going to make the jobs of the recruiter or who's ever hiring or the hiring manager or whatever be able to make that instant decision of, okay, who, what, where, when, and why. And are they good? Yes or no. And if you can check all of those off, the chances of you getting hired are a lot better. Unless you are very good at social media, like posting all the time, which is something I'm really bad at. Diogo
Quality
can,
over quantity.
yeah, exactly. Um, but the way you deal with social media is a little bit different, though, Diogo.
Yes, sure, sure.
Which I
No,
just
I'm not comparing. I'm just saying that I would rather
yeah,
see quality instead of quantity.
yeah. But it definitely does help to post on social media all the time. I'm terrible at it because I just don't care for social media. Says the guy who's showing his art station. Um, but I just I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I think there's a lot of BS with it, but I would say if you're trying to get in the game a little bit, keep uh, like Diogo was saying, quality over quantity. Make it easy for people to find you and have access to your information so that they can hire you. And then paint happy trees, nice happy trees.
Thanks, Bob Ross.
Yeah, exactly right. And
Cool tips for the art station, though. I immediately corrected a few things on my profile.
yeah, I mean
As usual.
it just makes life easy for people. Because when I was starting out with freelancing and even working in studios, even though my work was decent, knock on wood, uh, I didn't get very much help with connections of getting work or whatever. So uh, I tried to figure out like, okay, how would this work? Why is no one clicking on my profile and looking at things? And so you really have to put yourself in their position of, okay, uh, let's make it easy for people to see me and who I am and what it is that I
Yeah.
do, um, and sell yourself that way. Um, yeah, and then I'll show you guys this as well. For the new piece that I recently worked on, I use some of these brushes as well, even for concept work. I'll open this up for you. It when you're doing concept work as well, like I know I'm changing the subject a little bit, but when you're doing concept work, you can use whatever brush you want and do any result that you want with it. It doesn't matter. Um, so like for all these effects, everything was just painting really quick with different smoke brushes, different cloud brushes, with just alphas. Everything like that was just painting it with an alpha. Um, and using that exact same alpha and just twisting it and turning it, and that's how I get these effects. Yeah. So it really just doesn't matter how or what brush you use. Just use the one that's going to work the most for you and give you the right looking result. So like even all these tiny little breakups that I did here was all from that one brush. Yeah, that one cloud brush. Is it this one? Yeah. By just tapping it. Yeah, you'll see. There it is. And you get like that kind of effect a little bit. Yeah. And you just have to play with things a little bit and see what works and what doesn't, and what do you like and what do you not like. Yeah, I love this piece. But yeah, that's kind of it really, of just play with brushes, play with your settings. Does anyone have any questions about anything, or that you're really curious about, or about brushes or about social media? Because I'm sure Diogo could probably answer some questions about it uh,
Sure.
as well, because it's um, I mean, yeah, dude, you're way better at social media than me. I'm terrible at posting. Um,
Don't take me as an example to start with. My audience is quite large at this point.
well, yeah, it's large, but you know how to post very well with the hashtags and posting
Yeah, it takes
the
a few
right
time.
way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a little bit time consuming because when I first started, I was spending more than 4 hours a day on Instagram. It
Jesus.
was like
Oof.
a part time job for me, but it got me a lot of cool stuff. I'm
Mhm,
just not into it anymore. As I said a few days ago, I'm tending to go a little bit away from social media, and I'm investing a lot more on my portfolio and developing my career as a matte painter. So
mhm,
I dedicate a lot of my time now getting everything fixed on my LinkedIn and ArtStation.
mhm,
Instagram will be just the place to dump my personal experiences.
mhm. And yeah, exactly. And it's but you're still very good with it though. Um, but it just takes time to get in the habit of
Yeah,
posting stuff online. The
yeah, I
way
like everything.
yeah, the way I tend to post is only based on when I have something that I really want to share. Um, which I mean is more recent lately because I've created a lot of new work, but which I need to post. But
Yeah,
um, yeah, that's kind of how it goes. If I was gonna say in the chat, if anyone's interested in doing uh, one-on-one sessions about going over like your LinkedIn, your ArtStation, your Reels, or whatnot, you can book a session with me, and we can go and take a look at all that stuff
yeah.
together and just go over it.
Oh, feel
Um,
free to do the same with me with social
yeah,
media.
yeah. I mean, you're way better at it than me. Um, and
It's
it's
important nowadays.
yeah, it is. It's highly important with today's world. I just don't have the time for it anymore. Because of just I'm
Neither
working.
the patience to deal with.
Yeah, I just don't have the patience for it anymore. I've
I know.
um, but it's definitely very important. And then so are brushes. Um, they're very important because then you can paint weird stuff. So for example, I'll show this. I'm not supposed to show this, but it's for an upcoming challenge for MattePaint. Um, I'll show only
I'm
this.
calling Conrad.
Yeah, it's only this little section. I'll show you this. So all these effects that I was doing in here of this smoke effect was all with one brush of just these cloud brushes that I have of just putting it on a new layer and just playing with it. You can do a lot with it, and then to like get some like dust particles, it was doing that other brush. Oops, where are you? There you go. To get like these nice little flares in with it, do something a little bit brighter, and you get like those kind of cool effects. So you can really do a lot with brushes. You just have to paint the right way. Um, but yeah, that that's about it for brushes really. Um, is there any questions on YouTube, Diogo?
No, no, no,
No.
not at the moment.
Um, yeah, it's I'll do one last call for any questions people might have. or if there's anything of mine that I've worked on recently that you're curious about.
Just give it a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
And my premises.
But yeah, play with brushes, play with the settings of them. MattePaint has a lot of cool textures to uh, extract textures out of. So if you're trying to make your own, I encourage that. And do it with clouds or rocks, even for trees. It works really well if you're trying to do trees in the distance. Just have some pre-made trees, and you just color pick the right color and put it in the background, and with one click, and you've got trees in the distance. Um, make life easy. So definitely check out MattePaint for any kind of unique elements uh, to make textures from and such. Like something like this, that's really cool. Even this, like this grass, that would work for anything to extract those and then use it for anything that you need. Just looks like a cool little place to visit. But it's yeah, you can do a lot. I mean, even this, like you could extract the texture out of this and use it for like fish scales, or if you have to do a painting of a person with burnt uh, skin, you could do something with this easily.
True.
You just have to be creative with anything and everything, and don't overthink it. Yeah. Is there anything on YouTube or on Discord for
No, no.
questions? No? All right, well.
What are you gonna call it?
Yeah, we'll call it for today. I hope that was interesting for everyone. I know it wasn't probably the most interesting thing, but I I think it's important to have like a nice set of brushes. I mean, unless you want to go over how I do my dailies really quick. I know some people have been. You know what? Let's do that really quick.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, because I've had a few people ask about how I go about these.
Just 1 second, because this is the part where I need to leave.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, please go on. And yeah, see you later.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye, dude.
Bye. Okay.
So for when I'm doing my dailies, I have a certain setup that I go for. So I'll show you that way. The way I do it is I just create a new document and I do 1080 by 1080 as an artboard and keep it at 8-bit. We're not doing any fancy paintings or anything. And I do create. Then I'll create a second artboard. And from there, I have a folder called dailies. And in this dailies, I just went on Flickr and Google and went and found images that I just liked, make sure they're non-commercial and free to use, and that way you don't deal with copyright or whatever. And I just spent a good afternoon just going looking for images, and I've got something for like the whole month. And I just pick one that I kind of like. I'm feeling this today, and I try to just fill up this box and find a nice section of it that I like. And I really like this kind of, yeah, I like it like that actually. Boom. Okay. And then from there, now I paint on my left side. And with these brushes, I mean, I have a certain set of brushes that I go for as well for doing all my paintings. So let's do replace all brushes, and let's do oil brushes number 1. These are the ones that I tend to play with the most. And let's put the flow back up, brush really big. Let's pick, yeah, that one's alright. I take a little bit of time to find the one that I really like. Ooh, that one was kind of cool. Okay, that one works. Let's load the second brush set. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I think it's this one. Nope, it's not that one. My bad. I'm just trying to find my brush that I tend to use. Yeah, I think that's it. So I put this on there. I put the flow really low, and from there with a big brush, I'll try to get the same color. So instead of color picking, you can definitely do that, but I would say first just try to eyeball it yourself. So I mean, even if you need to go this way, so this way I can look at this and go, okay, there's a little bit more red in this, and it's obviously not white. It's obviously not fully saturated. It's obviously not very black. It's going to be a little bit there, but it's going to be a little bit brighter. So something like this, and then I go up a little bit more saturated, and that's going to give us something a little bit kind of like that. And then from there I can go, okay, that's way too saturated, so I'm going to go down a bit. And there we go. And now that's very similar. And that's without color picking it. And there we go. Now we've got our color. So with that, I'll just go and paint something like that. Go, okay, we need to go a little bit darker because we've got like this horizon line down a little bit. And this kind of comes down a bit. And then we've got like this nice little fall off here. And that's kind of how I do everything. I just look at it and eyeball it really. And then we've got a little bit more red down here, so I'm going to push this up a tiny bit. And on here, that should, oops, be pretty close to it. Okay, so it needs to be a little bit more grayer. Right, a little bit more higher. And the reason I like doing this is it really teaches you where color is, rather than just color picking it. And it lets your eyes study it and see it, what's natural a little bit. And then from there, there you go. And now I'm going to merge that. And then I'm going to do this ground to try to get something like this. So again, don't color pick it. And part of it's like you're going to get so many different variations. So to get the base color of that, what I would do is I would go, okay, first grass is going to be a little bit more yellow, something kind of like that. It's got a little bit more red into it, so we're going to put a little bit more orange. It's not black, it's not white, it's kind of down here, but it's going to be a little bit more grayed out, and it's going to have a little bit more red into it. And I would say that's pretty close. Yeah, already that's pretty close. And then again, it just needs to be a little bit darker, and that looks fairly decent. There we go. I like that. And there's your ground color. Now you can go in here and just paint it. Try to match the same horizon. And then let's get a little bit more of a brightness, just a tad. And then a little bit. And we've got like this patch right there. And let the brush do the work. Kind of like when you're also cooking as well, let the knife do the work. Same aspect. So we got something kind of like this, and then we need to get a little bit darker over here. It's going to be a little bit more purplish. And you can always go and check your colors like this. So that's kind of how I paint everything when I'm doing my dailies. Oops. Or to start off, if you want, color pick things, but just be careful with it. And this would be good, like for that brush you're using, or sorry, the brush that I had of the grass. But generally, I try to do everything with one brush, and then once I have everything, I've got a fancy button. Oops. Oh, really? Continue. I gotta fix it. There we go. But that's what it does. And now I've got a nice presentation to put online of like, hey, here's my painting, here's afterwards, and there we go. And that's kind of how I deal with everything for my dailies. It's really good practice for understanding color, tonality, shape language, and try to do everything with one brush because that's how the masters did it. They had one brush. They didn't have 30 billion brushes to do anything with. So I'd say try to imitate that reality of things, of one brush, and get it looking really nice, and and build it up. And happy painting, right? So with that, I'll get off. And if any of you have questions on anything, feel free to reach out and message me. If you'd like to do a painting session like this to go over how this process works some more, we can definitely do that. And then if you also want to book a session with me for Photoshop or for going over your resume, your reel, your social media platforms to make it much more professional and clean, we can do that and go into it a little bit more. And with that, further ado, I'll say goodbye and have a nice weekend, everyone. And I hope this video was helpful for everyone. Yeah.